Today I'll be reading I Can Hear Your Voice, an analogical soulmate AU by Ace in a Shopping Cart. Virgil had never met Logan, but loved him with all his heart. Logan had always been there for him, always been with him. The first time he was aware of him was in kindergarten. That was when the teachers told him of soulmates. He was told the soulmate was just a few words away. They could hear everything you said. That was when he and Logan had been first introduced. Over time, he got used to having a voice in his head that only he could hear. He also got used to talking aloud more often. Sometimes he would just hum while he was doing something, and Logan would send back an answering hum. Other times he would sing, and Logan would ask what song it was. Most times, he would speak aloud to an empty room and get responses. As they grew older, they found times when they needed to be quiet, such as when Logan got into meetings in his career. But there were also times when they would deliberately talk, like when Logan helped Virgil down from an anxiety attack in the middle of a presentation. Sometimes, one would be driving and, instead of playing music, ask the other to read to them. Virgil found it fun to be Logan's audiobook, trying to put a voice to each character and a separate voice for the narrator. Logan did the same with him, voice coming alive with numerous accents in order to create a whole world with just his speech. Today started off as a normal day. Virgil woke up and said a quiet, "Good morning," to the empty room. A chuckle sounded in a space that felt like directly behind Virgil, but was actually a few 100 miles away. "Are you just now getting up?" Virgil rolled over, blurry eyes trying to read the clock. "What time is it?" "For you? Probably about 11 in the morning. By the way, how are we feeling this morning?" Virgil smiled at the question. "More androgynous right now," while leaning towards male. "So they/them for now, yes?" Virgil smiled, grateful their soulmate accepted them as gender fluid. "Yes, please." "All right, Starlight. Time to start the day." Virgil stretched, releasing an unintelligible sound. "What chapter were we last on?" they asked as they rolled out of bed. Logan began reading as Virgil went about their morning routine, grabbing the gym bag by the door on their way out and heading to the dance studio. Logan said he had to go into a meeting, so had to stop reading, and Virgil said goodbye, turning on the music. They stretched before they began, listening as Logan switched from the tone he used just with them to his business voice. Virgil smiled as they lost themselves in the unique combination of music and Logan's voice, letting his body flow as a warm-up. They lay on the floor, panting, as Logan concluded his meeting. There was a smile in his voice as he asked, "Did you have a good session?" "Yeah, I did, actually. You have a good meeting?" He sounded frustrated towards the end. Logan sighed as Virgil imagined him running his hands through his hair. "Just people being idiots. Nothing to worry about." They sat in silence together for a few minutes before Logan spoke again. "So, do we want to talk about last night?" Virgil laughed, shifting his legs to be more comfortable. "No, I don't think we do. You know how I can be." "Yes, I do. It was also very hard to keep my focus on my work with that going in my head." Virgil laughed. "You should have been asleep anyways, Mr. I'm only an hour behind you." Logan sighed. "Yes, I also realize that you have insomnia. That does not give you the excuse to rant about the merits of the written word and compare and contrast them to those of the drawn world. Nor does it give you the excuse to almost break into tears over the beauty of them working together to enhance each other." Virgil chuckled. "All right, fair point." They stood and began to gather their things, the rest of the day progressing smoothly. The night rolled around, Logan having a lot of things to get done. so Virgil decided that it would be a good time to practice his singing. Logan chuckled as he started, but soon quieted as he focused on the papers he had to go through, as Virgil faded into a very welcome background noise. Finally, Virgil's voice trailed off as they stared up at the stars and wondered if Logan was seeing the same stars they were, gazing at the same moon. They sighed. "Logan?" Logan hummed. "Yes, darling?" They watched an airplane fly by. "Can we pretend that airplanes are shooting stars?" Logan paused. "Are you okay? I could really use a wish right now." "Talk to me, baby. What's going through that pretty head of yours?" Virgil sighed. "I'm feeling more male right now." "All right, dear. What's wrong, my little prince?" Virgil stood, shutting his blinds before he moved to the couch. "I don't know. I don't feel well, but know I'm in perfect health. Probably better health than you. I wish moments like this would stretch on forever, staying in this peace and serenity. I know just how you feel. Sometimes I don't want to leave a moment that I feel safe in. Just wait a bit longer, and you will find another safe moment." Virgil sighed, flopping onto his back. "I know. I'm just tired of being tired. I want something to change, but I don't know what. I guess I just need to sleep." "That's a good idea. I'll talk to you in the morning, okay?" Virgil made a noise of agreement as he headed off to bed. The next morning, Virgil was feeling feminine, so put on a skirt, twirling as she liked the way it felt against her skin. She wandered over to her computer and ate breakfast while searching the symptoms of yesterday on the internet. "Ah," she said. "What is it?" Logan asked. "I think I found out why I was feeling so bad yesterday." "And what would that be, Starlight?" "I was having an anxiety attack." She said it casually, as if she were discussing the grocery list. "Are you feeling any better now?" "Yes, I think I am. How are you this fine morning?" He chuckled. "Busy, traveling for work. I have to work on moving to a new office, so you might hear me muttering at the GPS for a while." Virgil laughed. "Would you like an audiobook? I can pick up where we left off yesterday." A smile invaded Logan's voice, a sound Virgil had only ever heard directed at her. "Yes, please. Oh, before I forget, which gender would you like to be perceived as at the moment?" Virgil smirked. "Currently female, leaning a bit towards agender today." "How shall I refer to you while agender?" "You always ask me how I want to be perceived. Whenever I'm agender, I just want to be perceived as a threat." Logan laughed. "All right, princess. A threat you shall be." Virgil giggled as she skipped off to get the book they were reading. The sound of a car passing didn't usually bother Virgil, as they were used to it, living on a semi-busy road as they were. However, the sound of a car stopping outside their house did give them cause for concern. They got up, pausing mid-sentence, and went to look out the window. "What's wrong?" Logan asked, his concern evident. Virgil paused. "I don't know. A car just pulled into my driveway and turned off." "Isn't that normal for you? You did say you live on a busy road." "It's normal to hear them pull in, but that's usually just a turnaround. They don't usually park on my driveway if they're visiting the neighbors." Logan chuckled even as the car's door opened. "I guess the jig is up, as they say." The man stepping out of the car was tall and well-dressed in a neat black suit with a patterned blue tie. He smiled and waved at Virgil, who ducked behind their blinds. "The person just got out of the car and waved at me." Logan laughed again, a knock sounding at the door. "How about you answer your door?" Virgil froze as the information Logan gave finally sank in. "You're actually here?" "Yes, I am." Virgil slid across the floor on their socked feet, fumbling with the lock before throwing the door open. Logan stared as his eyes traveled the length of Virgil's body, taking in the bright skirt and socks before going back up to linger just long enough on the band t-shirt to read it. His eyes finally made it back to Virgil's, and he smiled. "You're gorgeous," was all he said. Virgil threw themselves into his arms, smiling widely. "I can't believe you're really here." Pulling back, they paused. "Were you lying about having to go on a business trip?" Logan smiled, shaking his head. "No. My company recently opened a branch here, and I volunteered to go help out. I also need a place to stay, so you can crash here. I don't mind at all." Virgil rushed before Logan could finish. He chuckled, pulling his soulmate closer. "Nothing would make me happier."